from the madness that is March Madness. And joining us now, talk some college basketball, Casey Jacobsen, FS1. How we doing, Casey? How you doing, bud? What's happening?
I'm great. It's late February, about to turn the calendar to March. So, yeah, I'm buried in basketball and couldn't be happier.
I got to tell you kind of the news that Bernard Muir, your former Stanford AD, you being a Cardinal, decided to step down after 13 years. Bernard and I were classmates in grad school. Good friend. I just texted him and just got going back and forth. But that's a big loss for Stanford. He did a great job there at getting that program going.
Yeah, I've also developed a personal relationship with Bernard over the last decade or so. He wasn't the AD when I was there, of course, but I mean, Stanford's athletic department is among the biggest in the entire country. So can only imagine all the things that Bernard was responsible for and all the things that he did at Stanford, helping to sustain and keep that that organization and that athletic department at the top. A lot of moving parts. I also sent a message yesterday wishing them well.
Good. I can imagine, Kate, you talk about organization and keeping things together with the NIL and the collective. It's truly an all-new ball game right now for a lot of ADs and a lot of coaches. And I know in the football side, a lot of coaches are moving on because it's too much as a head coach.
Yeah, it's a good point, and I can't speak for Bernard. He didn't say that in his response to me, but certainly – he's part of the old regime, I guess you want to call it. And maybe he was looking around saying, I may not be the best person, best equipped to take Stanford to the next level. And he's not the only person that is asking himself that. So let's just talk about college basketball in general. Jay Wright, Mike Krzyzewski, Jim Boeheim, Tony Bennett for Virginia, Jim Larinaga, about a month into the season. Most of them are older gentlemen. So maybe they were, approaching the last, tail end of their career anyway, but certainly it seemed hastened by this new NIL transfer portal friendly landscape that we find college sports in. This is now a professional, collegiate atmosphere that we're in. And yeah, some of these coaches are like, hey, the job that I signed up for, the job that I was hired for 10, 20, 30 years ago is not what it is now. And so, I do think that there is a seismic shift going on all across the land. Bernard Muir is one of many people, I'm sure, that are thinking, hey, am I the right person? And maybe I should step down and move on with my life and let somebody else who maybe has grown up in this or has been, kind of coached and taught. Because it is certainly not the same job. Being a college basketball coach is recruiting used to be going out and sitting in high school gyms, evaluating AAU talent. And now that's probably 10% of what recruiting is. Most of it is how much money can you offer and can you go get somebody in the transfer portal and sell them on your school.
Casey Jacobsen's our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Casey, my follow-up to that is that why we see more teams now having that ability to be called a contender for the Final Four instead of your so-called blue bloods of college basketball? Other teams have now arrived.
I understand the question. I would still push back on it. Just it's a spot that we always are. Just that we're paying kids, and we can talk about it now. It's legal rather than under the table. But still the same type of schools, Duke and Houston is now, I would say, is one of the best programs in the country since Kelvin Sampson's been there. But we do have some new programs, I guess, like Auburn and Iowa State are two that come to mind that aren't necessarily like blue blood power programs, but maybe the playing field has been evened or leveled off because of NIL, and you can only pay so many guys, and those other really good players are going to go elsewhere. But I still feel like I don't think that there are 15 teams that could win a national championship now than there was 5 or 10 years ago. I don't think that's the case.
Casey, do you feel in that realm right there that garnering one or two top kids, ASU getting those two freshmen to come into Arizona State, make them viable for a short time before they went on their skid, can even out the playing field just a little bit?
Yeah. In theory, that is how it should work.
Yeah.
My only point is you're still going to have the best talent going to the biggest brands, because usually the biggest brands have the biggest money, or if they don't have, technically the biggest platform for these kids. And so that's why I don't know if things are going to change that much. And the last thing, and I don't have any like real proof on this, but the bigger programs were probably, at least some of them, already paying kids or families in some way, shape, or form before it was made kind of like legal. So, these same programs are getting in trouble. That now it's just normal. And, so Kansas doesn't have to worry about their players getting suspended or their coach in hot water. Now it's just, let's just do what we have to do to make sure that we have the best team in the country, or at least the best collection of talent in the country. So that's where we're at.
Flagg or Broome? Who you got?
This is as close of a National Player of the Year race as we've had in a long time. I've only been a broadcaster for 11 years. This is definitely the closest race. I would go Janai Broome. And the reason is the numbers are comparable between Cooper Flagg and Janai Broome. Janai Broome is
I'm sure it was great.
Let me try to get him back.
Yeah,
Great point. We lost
great
him.
when he's going to break him down.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear too.
Who are you going with?
I like, to be honest with you. He
Don't lie to me.
No, I'm not going to lie. Not to you anyway. I would not. I would take Flagg over Broome in today's vote.
Okay,
but I would say it is
extremely
close. Extremely close. Casey, we got you back right now. Sorry about that, pal. Break it down for us. My question was Flagg or Broome?
Yeah, I would go Janai Broome slightly because it's close, but we have to put this into context. Janai Broome's playing in the SEC, which is going to be, it's not my opinion, it's going to be the best and deepest conference in modern basketball history. It's going to get 13 teams in the NCAA tournament.
About 2.5 minutes.
Win that conference by multiple games. And Janai Broome's the biggest reason why. If the statistical comparison between Broome and Flagg is close, you cannot deny that what Auburn has had to do that against is significantly tougher than what Cooper Flagg is having to do. It's not Cooper Flagg's fault. It's just the reality. Janai Broome has had a more impressive season from that standpoint.
And with all that being said, looking at U of A and ASU, U of A, looks like they're up and down season. When you look at Bobby and the way he's toiling over there or dealing with a lot of stuff at ASU, what ultimately think is going to probably happen or needs to happen at Arizona State University?
Well, I think Bobby has done a good job, not necessarily a great job. He's done a good job during his tenure.
Yeah.
And I always caution anybody, whether they're an ASU fan or a Kansas fan or an any fan, before you want to go blame your coach, take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Are all your problems going to be solved by taking out a coach and getting a new one? Or is it a bigger issue? I believe, and maybe you guys talk about this on your show already, but I believe Hurley's buyout is $3.5 million if they want to, fire him early. That's a large sum of money. And would you be better off, instead of paying $3.5 million for him to go away, why don't you invest $3.5 million for next year's team and see what he can do with it? Now, maybe they've already done that this year and they think, it's not working. But that, to me, is a better solution than getting rid of Bobby Hurley, who I think is a good coach, and replacing him with another, quote, good coach.
So, Casey, what's your schedule this weekend? I know you guys, FS1's got some really good games. I know the one that I'm looking forward to is Purdue and UCLA. Purdue having lost 4 straight, which I find but they're all 4 good teams. But what's one game you really are kind of focusing on this weekend?
Yeah, I would say that's the one. Purdue has been a really good program for Matt Painter's tenure there. I think he's one of the better coaches in the country. For them to be going through a 4-game skid is surprising to me, but maybe not so much if you look at the Big Ten Conference. It's good. It's really good. I mean, I don't think there's any terrible team in the Big Ten. So scheduling can often, force you to take a look at yourself and see what adjustments need to be made. Meanwhile, UCLA went through their own 4-game skid, not maybe 5 weeks ago. So these are two programs that are kind of have been going in different directions. UCLA has bounced back. They're a confident group now. But Mackey Court, the home court for Purdue, is really, really tough. I mean, their crowd is as good as any that UCLA will face all year. And while Purdue does not have Mackey anymore, they do have Kaufman.
Probably good to wrap after.
And Braden Smith. Braden Smith's their point guard. Kaufman runs their postman. And the two of them have a really nice chemistry. So UCLA's got to solve that issue before they can even think about doing anything else in that game. I think it's the only ranked matchup of the day tomorrow on our air on Big Fox. So, yeah, I'll be covering that game for studio. I'm looking forward to it.
Casey Jacobsen, Arena 23. It's the first indoor sports amusement park located in Chandler. Give us a quick, few 30 seconds on that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't been to my location and you're listening to this, I highly recommend it. It's for people of all ages, 7 and older. We are an indoor sports amusement park, so we have sports simulation games. It's not a training center. It's just for a good time. We have batting cages that have cameras and sensors. We have a quarterback game where you throw a real football through these rings, and everything's scored and gamified. So bring a buddy, bring a wife or a significant for a date night, or bring a group of people just looking to have a good time. It's in Chandler on the corner of Warner and Arizona Avenue.
Awesome. We're going to be doing our show out there soon. We're looking forward to that. Casey, thanks for your time again.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.
That's Casey Jacobsen joining us. You can follow him on C Jacobsen 23. You can check that out on X or Twitter. We need a contestant to challenge one of the beautiful Twin Peaks girls here at Camelback to win yourself a gift card. We're going to pick 3 games. Also, we've been talking about this NFLPA report card as the Cardinals finished 32nd. How many NFL teams are there?
There are 32.
Well, they just announced they are planning a $100 million facility to combat that poor survey result. More Rock and Manuch with Jimmy B continues.